Welcome, everyone, to Simply Mindful. I'm your host, Maya. I am truly honored to have you here with me today as we embark on a journey inward, a journey toward understanding the very essence of what it means to be alive. Our mission here at Simply Mindful is to foster a space for lifelong learning, deep self-reflection, and conscious evolution. We don't just want to exist, we want to thrive, to resonate, and to find profound meaning in every single breath we take. Before we dive into the depths of today's topic, I'd like to take a brief moment to express my deepest gratitude to our community. For those of you who find solace and wisdom in these sessions and wish to support the continuation of this high-quality, mindful content, I invite you to become an official member of our channel. For just a small monthly contribution, you'll gain exclusive benefits, including the ability to vote on the topics we explore next, shaping the future of this space. And if you aren't in a position to support us financially, please know that your presence alone is a gift. Simply hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel provides the vital energy we need to keep creating these meaningful conversations. Thank you for being an integral part of this growth and for walking this path with me. Now, let's begin. Today, we are exploring a theme that is as beautiful as it is vital, the concept of living a life that glows, a life defined by its quality, its resonance, and its luminosity, rather than just its chronological duration. There is a poignant quote that often haunts the hallways of my mind. Some people live 90 years, but they only live 1 year repeated 90 times. Think about that for a moment. It's a chilling reflection of the routine, the autopilot, and the soul-crushing stagnation that can so easily consume our existence if we aren't living with intention. I want you to consider a metaphor that illustrates this perfectly. Imagine your life not as a massive, heavy water storage tank, but as a vibrant, blooming flower. A water tank is functional, yes. It can hold vast amounts of liquid for a very long time, protected by its thick walls. But if that water is never released, never used to nourish the parched earth or quench a deep thirst, it just sits there, static, heavy, and ultimately devoid of purpose. A flower, on the other hand, may have a much shorter lifespan than a steel tank, yet in its brief window of existence, it blooms with everything it has. It displays brilliant colors. It releases an intoxicating fragrance that fills the air. It serves the entire ecosystem by attracting life. It fulfills its purpose with an intensity and grace that the water tank can never know. This is the fundamental difference between merely existing and truly living. As we delve deeper into this, we must ask, does our brain recognize this difference? Does our biology know the difference between a life of monotonous routine and a life of profound meaning? The answer, from a neuroscientific perspective, is a resounding yes. Your brain is not merely interested in the mechanical aspects of survival, whether your heart is beating or your lungs are expanding. It is a sophisticated organ constantly scanning for meaning and purpose. This brings us to the fascinating world of the limbic dopamine pathway. You might have heard of dopamine as the feel-good chemical, but that's a vast oversimplification. Think of it as your internal emotional GPS, or a highly evolved neurobiological reward system. When you engage in actions that align with your core values, the things you truly believe in, the things that resonate with the very fabric of your soul, your brain releases a surge of dopamine. This isn't just a fleeting spark of pleasure, it provides you with what we call vibrancy. It fuels your motivation, your élan vital, and your innate desire to keep moving forward. Conversely, when you force yourself into roles, jobs, or tasks that contradict your authentic self, when you live a life that lacks intrinsic value to you, your brain diminishes this reward. You begin to feel withered, stagnant, and emotionally depleted. In many ways, dopamine is the internal irrigation that keeps our hearts and spirits from drying up. Without it, we are just that static water tank. To understand this better, we have to look at the triune brain model. Our brain is organized into 3 evolutionary layers, and each plays a distinct role in how we experience our time on Earth. At the base, we have the reptilian brain, which governs our most primal survival instincts. It's all about staying alive, breathing, eating, and avoiding immediate danger. It ensures that the water tank stays intact and functional, but it doesn't care if the water inside is fresh or stagnant. Above that lies the limbic system, the seat of our emotions, memories, and complex social connections. This is where we feel the warmth of a hug, the surge of a passion, or the sting of a loss. But the key to living a glowing life lies in the highest, most evolved layer, the neocortex. This is the crown jewel of human evolution. It is responsible for complex thought, rational analysis, and, most importantly, the quest for meaning. The neocortex is what allows us to ask why. It is the part of us that seeks to understand our unique purpose and ensures that we aren't just surviving, but truly flourishing in our own light. But the neurochemical symphony doesn't end with dopamine. To live a high-quality life, we need a balanced orchestra of neurochemicals working in perfect harmony. Consider serotonin. This is the molecule of deep contentment and inner stability. It's not the sudden high of a reward, but the steady, quiet glow of self-acceptance and the pride we feel in small, consistent accomplishments. It's the feeling of being centered and safe within your own skin. Then we have oxytocin, often called the bonding molecule. It is released when we feel a deep sense of connection, trust, and safety with those around us. In our modern, often fragmented world, consciously fostering oxytocin is vital for our emotional resilience and our sense of belonging. And let's not forget endorphins, our body's natural opiate. They provide that sense of euphoria and relaxation we feel after physical exertion or a bout of genuine, deep-bellied laughter. If we lack these chemicals, our internal system becomes like a high-performance car running on an empty tank. We can try to drive, we can try to force the engine, but we won't get far, and the journey will be a constant, exhausting struggle. As we look at these biological components, the path to a vibrant life becomes clearer. It starts with alignment. Are you living in accordance with your values? Are you nurturing your connections? Are you managing your delicate nervous system? Now that we've explored the neurochemical foundation of a vibrant life, I want to take a deeper look at the core pillar of this entire philosophy: alignment with core values. You see, many of us spend our lives chasing external markers of success, wealth, status, or the approval of others, only to find ourselves feeling remarkably empty. This is because we are operating in a state of biological and psychological mismatch. Our neocortex knows something is missing, while our limbic system is screaming for a connection that isn't there. To truly glow, we must engage in the courageous act of self-inquiry. I often ask myself, and I invite you to ask yourself right now, what are the non-negotiables of my soul? This isn't about what you should care about, but what you actually care about. When we identify these core values, be it creativity, compassion, integrity, or freedom, we provide our brain with the ultimate blueprint for dopamine release. Every small action taken in service of these values sends a signal to your nervous system that you are on the right track. It transforms a mundane task into a meaningful ritual. This leads us to a critical yet often overlooked aspect of quality living: the health of our nervous system. In the modern world, most of us are trapped in a state of chronic hypervigilance. We are constantly bombarded by notifications, deadlines, and social pressures. Biologically, this keeps us locked in the fight or flight mode of our sympathetic nervous system. While this mode is essential for survival, the reptilian brain's specialty, it is catastrophic for long-term well-being and creativity. You cannot bloom if your body thinks it is constantly being hunted. To counter this, we must consciously cultivate what we call somatic awareness, the ability to feel and interpret the signals coming from our body, a process known as interoception. When we feel that tightness in our chest or that shallow breath, it's our body's way of saying the water tank is under pressure. This is where the power of the breath comes in. By intentionally slowing down our respiration, breathing deeply into the diaphragm, we are sending a signal directly to the nerve pair 10, or vagus nerve. This activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode. It is only in this state of physiological safety that our neocortex can truly function, allowing us to find the meaning we so desperately crave. Think of your daily life as a series of micro decisions. Every time you choose a meaningful interaction over a superficial one, or a moment of stillness over a moment of mindless scrolling, you are practicing neural plasticity. You are literally carving new pathways in your brain, grooves of happiness, if you will. The more we repeat these mindful choices, the more the brain defaults to positivity and resilience. It's like a muscle. The more you exercise your capacity for joy and meaning, the stronger that capacity becomes. One of the most profound ways to strengthen these pathways is through the practice of deep connection. As I mentioned earlier, our brains are fundamentally social organs. We are wired for attachment. When we share a vulnerable moment with a friend, or when we extend a hand to help a stranger, our system is flooded with oxytocin. This isn't just a nice feeling, it is a biological necessity. It lowers cortisol, reduces inflammation, and creates a sense of social safety that allows our internal light to shine brighter. A life lived in isolation, no matter how long it lasts, will always lack the luminosity of a life lived in connection. I want you to consider your daily routines. Are they merely habits designed to get you through the day, or are they mindful rituals designed to nourish your soul? Even something as simple as your morning coffee or your commute can be transformed. Instead of rushing, try practicing sensory grounding. What do you smell? What do you feel? What do you hear? By bringing your full presence to the now, you move from the survival mode of the reptilian brain into the luminous mode of the neocortex. As we move forward, remember that a life of quality is not a destination you reach, it is a way of traveling. It is the decision to be a flower in a world of water tanks. It is the courage to prioritize the glow over the duration. In the next part of our journey, we will explore specific, actionable strategies to help you maintain this alignment even when the world around you feels chaotic. Now, as we continue this exploration, we must address a fundamental truth. The path to a vibrant, glowing life is not always paved with ease. In fact, true luminosity often requires us to navigate through periods of profound darkness and challenge. This is where the concept of psychological resilience becomes our most valuable asset. It is not about avoiding the storm, but about training your nervous system to remain centered while the winds howl around you. In the previous sections, we spoke about the importance of the neocortex and our higher functions. However, when we face significant stress, our brain tends to undergo what psychologists call an amygdala hijack. This is when our emotional center takes over, bypassing our rational thought and plunging us back into a primal survival state. To counteract this, we must practice cognitive reframing. This isn't just positive thinking, it is the sophisticated process of consciously choosing how we interpret our experiences. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" a question that keeps us in a victim state, we can train our neocortex to ask, "What is this inviting me to learn?" Or, "How can I align my values with this current challenge?" This shift in perspective immediately changes our internal neurochemistry. We move from a state of paralysis to a state of agency. We stop being a static water tank that is simply being hit by the rain, and we start being the flower that uses that very same rain to grow. I want to introduce a concept that is central to our philosophy here at Simply Mindful, the practice of radical presence. Most of our suffering arises from a mind that is either ruminating on a past that no longer exists or anxious about a future that hasn't happened yet. This mental time traveling is exhausting and it robs us of our vital energy. When we practice radical presence, we are effectively telling our nervous system, I am safe in this moment. Consider the power of interoceptive awareness once more. When you find yourself spiraling into anxiety, bring your attention back to the physical sensations in your body. Feel the weight of your feet on the floor. Notice the temperature of the air as it enters your nostrils. This isn't just a relaxation technique, it is a profound act of somatic reclamation. You are taking back control of your biology from the grip of the stress response. You're choosing to be here rather than there. Another vital component of a glowing life is the cultivation of self-compassion. Many of us are our own harshest critics, operating under a persistent internal dialogue of not enough. This internal hostility triggers the same stress pathways as an external threat, keeping our cortisol levels dangerously high. To thrive, we must learn to treat ourselves with the same kindness we would offer a dear friend. When you make a mistake or when you feel you've failed to live up to your own expectations, can you pause and offer yourself a moment of grace? Can you recognize that your worth is not tied to your productivity or your perfection, but to your inherent existence? This shift towards self-warmth is a powerful catalyst for oxytocin release, which acts as a natural buffer against the corrosive effects of stress. As we move through our days, we also need to be mindful of our digital consumption. Our brains were not evolved to process a never-ending stream of global crises and curated perfection. This information overload creates a constant state of low-grade alarm in our nervous system. I encourage you to create sacred spaces in your day, moments where you are completely disconnected from screens and fully connected to your environment. Whether it's a 5-minute walk in nature, a period of silence meditation, or a focused conversation with a loved one, these pockets of stillness are essential for recharging your internal battery. Remember, the goal is not to be happy all the time. That is an unrealistic and frankly unhelpful expectation. The goal is to be alive, to feel the full spectrum of the human experience, from deep sorrow to exuberant joy, without losing your center. A glowing life is a life that is open to growth, open to connection, and open to the profound mystery of being. In our final part, we will discuss how to integrate these high-level concepts into a sustainable daily practice, ensuring that your light doesn't just flare up occasionally, but burns with a steady, enduring flame that illuminates not just your path, but the paths of those around you. As we reach the final stage of our journey today, I want us to synthesize everything we've explored. We've traveled from the microscopic dance of neurochemicals like dopamine and oxytocin to the macroscopic architecture of the triune brain. We've discussed the vital importance of somatic awareness and the courageous act of aligning our lives with our deepest core values. But the question remains, how do we make this sustainable? How do we ensure that our glow doesn't flicker out when faced with the mundane realities of daily life? The secret lies in the power of micro-rituals. You don't need to retreat to a mountaintop for a month to reset your nervous system. Transformation happens in the small, seemingly insignificant gaps of your day. It's in the 3 conscious breaths you take before responding to a stressful email. It's in the intentional way you feel the sun on your skin as you walk to your car. These are moments of interoceptive integration, where you bridge the gap between your physical body and your conscious mind. By practicing these moments of presence, you are engaging in a form of neural gardening. You're consistently pulling the weeds of autopilot and survival-based anxiety while nourishing the seeds of intentionality and peace. Over time, these small actions accumulate, creating a robust and resilient internal landscape. I want you to return to the image of the sun that we touched upon earlier. The sun doesn't strive to shine. It simply is radiant because of the immense energy infusion happening within its core. Similarly, when you do the inner work, when you heal your nervous system, honor your values, and cultivate deep connections, your life begins to glow naturally. You become a source of energy, not just a consumer of it. Your presence alone becomes a gift to the world, much like the fragrance of the flower we discussed. So, I leave you with a final reflection to carry in your heart as you move back into the world. Ask yourself, am I choosing to be a faint shadow, merely existing through the passage of time? Or am I choosing to be a light, a beacon that, however brief its time may be, makes this world a more beautiful, more luminous place to inhabit? The quality of your life is not measured by the number of breaths you take, but by the moments that take your breath away because of their sheer meaning and depth. You have the biological machinery, the psychological capacity, and the spiritual right to live a life that truly resonates. Thank you for joining me today on Simply Mindful. It has been a true privilege to share this space with you. If this conversation resonated with you, I invite you to take one small mindful action today that aligns with your true self. Whether it's a moment of gratitude, a deep breath, or a kind word to a stranger, let that be the start of your glow. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this session with someone who might need a little more light in their journey. I look forward to our next deep dive into the essence of mindful living. Until then, stay present, stay aligned, and stay simply mindful. I am Maya, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye for now.